Hello, officials, and welcome to another week of training film for the Wyoming High School Activities Association. This is Tyler Spear, your state coordinator of football officials. I appreciate your time once again as we look at a few clips to try and get better as we work football in Wyoming. 3 clips today, and I really appreciate these crews taking the time to share plays and for being so willing for a clean set of eyes to look at them and talk about some rules, opportunities here, some rules clarifications, and some philosophy stuff as well. So rules, philosophy, mechanics, we've got a little bit of all of it today. I will try to be brief again. You know how well I do that, though. So let's go ahead and get started. And again, thanks to these crews. So on the first play I have for you here, we got an interesting one because QB1 turns into blocker 1. And quite a unique play here. So we'll let it go through and then we'll get started. All right, here we go. So we'll let this play run through and then we will get started. You see the yellow come in there at the end. So let's back this up here and we will digest this a little bit. So we have a reverse play and the quarterback becomes the lead blocker. And so as we get started here, there are 2 blocks that we want to look at. And as we get started here, I really like how the white hat moves from the reverse play and his attention moves very quickly. And you can see from the bill of his hat, he's looking at these lead blocks and he's got 2 of them there. 2 lead blocks that he's got to look at, but I appreciate, again, from the bill of the hat, we can tell right where he's looking. And he's looking at this point of attack, which is what we're looking for from any official. We don't need to be eyeballing the ball carrier. Forget them. The ball doesn't foul. And so we're looking at these lead blocks here. And so as we slow it down, not so much of an issue there, but we'll go back and look at 11's block here first and see if we've got anything here that might look at material restrictions. So if we watch number 11 here, we're going to see his block, and let's make a determination there on this one. So as we move forward, we've got the grab, material restriction, a hold of the arm. He initiates that. I've got some issue there, so I think that could be a potential candidate. And then if we look at QB1 here, as he gets started, let's see what QB1's block looks like as well here. So he comes out, and both of these guys have the blocks that spring this. And I think from our referee's angle, I think one or both of these is probably a good enough candidate for an OH, particularly because, and I'll let it loop back and we'll look at it from the beginning, but you know, when we talk about our holding fouls and we talk about grading, putting a number behind them, that is something that's kind of tough to do. But what I would tell you is that when you're looking at grading fouls, if it happens at the point of attack, you're already starting at about a 3 on our 1 to 5 scale because attack is a big consideration here. And so as we get going here, these 2 blocks here really are what springs this and what creates the hole. And so from there, if we back it up and look at 11's block, you can see the material restriction comes pretty clearly. I mean, we've got hands outside the frame. We can see, too fast. We can see enough of a tug. And to me, you can see the shoulders dip and the hips go a little bit. That's enough for me. That puts that in a 4 on the 1 to 5 scale. Remember, 5s are takedowns. So I see enough on 11's block here that I see an athlete being restricted enough to where he can't make this play. Okay. And if we look at 12s again, we get up outside the frame, some hand fighting. And you can see, I think if you look closely at our defender's feet here, 23's feet, we'll start right here. But if you look at the feet of 23, that's the indicator for me. So when we look at these blocks, I'm looking at the hips, I'm looking at the shoulders, I'm looking at the feet. Shoulders can be deceiving, but it's worth looking at. But if I see the hips or the feet really from a natural back pedal to he's kind of stammering, I think that there could be enough there as well. If I were pressed to choose, I think the OH is on 11 and not on QB1. But either way here, we have something that starts outside the frame, and because of our proximity to the point of attack, I think we have enough of a material restriction here. So as you talk with your associations, I would encourage you to think about, what is that threshold for me? What is that threshold for our association? It should be high. Point of attack is a big deal when it comes to holds. If it happens on the backside, we need to let that go, unless it's a mugging. But in this situation, we have blocks at the point of attack. They spring this for a longer gain. And as I let it go one more time here, I really do think that there's enough here for material restriction, because at the end of the day, two athletes have an opportunity to make the play taken away from them. So it can look a little different, and you're maybe thinking, is this enough, Tyler? And that's a fair question. That's why I want you to talk about it in your associations. But to me, proximity, and then the fact that two athletes are unable to make plays at the 39 that they probably could have, I think we have enough here that it rises to the level of a foul. Okay, next play from the same contest here. And we'll let this play go here. This one here, we're talking mechanics, all right? Got a substitution thing. I have no issues there. As we get ready for the pre-snap, formation looks good. And when we look at this, we are 1st and 10 from the 21. And I want you to focus this play on our back judge here, okay? And you already know where I'm going, and you're thinking, good Lord, Tyler, not again. Well, this time, it's a little different wrinkle on this, okay? So we're going to let this play run through. I want you to watch our back judge's mechanics, and then let's talk about this a little bit. We'll go from there. Okay, so as we reset this, we have a problem here. And some of you that maybe like to elbow me a little bit are going to say, well, Tyler, that is exactly why you should be able to rule on both lines in the middle of the end zone. You can go up, you can go back, and it's fine. And I got to tell you, I still disagree. There is no situation where we need to set up in no man's land. At least to start this play, we have one of the lines covered. But what I want you to focus on this time is that if we behave and follow our keys and see where things go, we should be able as back judges to move to the end line and have a little bit, a bit of a better opinion on this. So I'm going to slow it down and back it up a little bit. I was a little close to the snap. So in our pre-snap routine, we have trips to the bottom and 2 in the backfield. And if I back it up the whole way, there is a receiver up here on the top. But if we look at our pre-snap and the strength of the formation, the head linesman, the headlines has that receiver all by himself. Our back judge is looking over there. I don't really know why, but that's okay. That's a question mark for now. But the strength of this formation is to the bottom side, as you can see, because we have trips. Now, wings at back judges, I want you to make sure you're pre-gaming who has what receivers in this. The book has an answer, every crew. In this situation, I would say that the line judge has the outside receiver. The back judge, whose hat again is looking at the sticks, maybe. See a sundress over there. There's nobody looking at that. His eyes aren't necessarily started where they need to be. Let's get a little closer to the snap. He comes over to the strength, it looks like, and so we're in good shape here. Okay. No press coverage. So our man-to-man responsibilities go away. You've got, fives. Well, I'd say 5 yards of separation here. You got a ton of separation here. You've probably got the same 5 yards of separation here. So there is no press coverage anywhere. Even on the backside, there's no press coverage. And so this back judge should be reading his key. This guy right here, I would say, would be the key I'd be looking at, even, because it's kind of hard to see this other tackle. But we're looking at our tackle to see what this play is. And if we let this play go, 75 goes straight into pass pro. So does 62. So we know it's a pass play, and our first step as a back judge is always backwards. Read pass, step backwards. That's where we're at here. Okay, so if I back it up here, let's let it go. So if I read pass, I should be stepping backwards. At this moment here, let's back it up to when the ball's gone. Where is our back judge actually looking? It sure as heck isn't here. If I move it up a frame, it's pretty clear to me. Let's see if you can spot it. Bill of the hat. We're ball watching. Very clear, at least to me, that we're ball watching in this situation. We should be moving our eyes, of course, away from that once we read what our tackle's doing. Once we read what our tackle's doing, and since we don't have press coverage, we're going zone pretty quickly here. The adage is man, then zone, then ball. Since we don't have press coverage, we have the clean snap. Our tackle reads pass pro. We should be going zone. Again, we're looking here. I'd be looking more here because you've got the trips over here, right? That's what we should be paying attention to. But we're going zone, and then pretty clear it's the one-on-one. We should be going ball. And the QB still in his windup. But when I look at this, our indicator is, oh, crap, we're going to get beat deep potentially by this matchup. And so it's a tough thing, right? Our first step should be backwards. Well, Tyler, you've got a goal line in play. Well, we have to understand and have some higher level football that this is a shot being taken. And so whether you've moved off the goal line or haven't, we got to get on our horse in a hurry, because until this moment, we are not, our back judge, we're not looking where we need to be looking. The ball is up here, okay? And we still haven't moved our eyes to the play in question, okay? Got to have a little bit better eye discipline here, because obviously the ball's thrown and we're on the 7. Boy, I don't know. I think we need to be getting back. And as we obviously let this play go, I would argue we're not in the right position to make that play and make the call on that play. And there's only one person in the stadium that can rule on the end line, and that's our back judge. And so if we go frame by frame here, I just think we can have a better angle. So it's tough. I think he's out of bounds, so I believe the call is correct. But folks, we've got to find a way to be more mobile in this situation. There's even schools of thought, I will say, where in this situation, if you're inside the 25, to just start on the end line and work forward if need be. Again, I think it's a comfort level thing. From the 21, that's a pretty long distance if you're the back judge to be on the end line. From the 15, obviously, you should be on the end line. So we're a little, like I say, we're in no man's land here. But all I want to highlight with this is our eye discipline led us to be out of position. And ideally, if we could be closer to this, maybe not on the end line, because again, these kids are faster than us, but let's try and get a little bit of a better angle on this. And our eye discipline is what gets us in trouble at the end. So read your tackle, and then man, zone, ball, and be in position to make a ruling on this play. All right, last one here. And this one here, we're going to start with a little narrative out of the rule book. So if you go to page 64 in your rule book, you'll find the table for 752. And if you look at letter D on this table, It reads as follows: a pass intentionally thrown into an area not occupied by an eligible offensive receiver or thrown incomplete to save loss of yardage or to conserve time. It is legal for a player to conserve yardage by intentionally throwing an incomplete forward pass if all of the following conditions are met. And this is the biggie. All of them are met. The passer has possessed the ball beyond the lateral boundary of the free blocking zone as established at the snap. The pass reaches the neutral zone, including the expansion of the neutral zone, and the passer is the only one to possess the ball after the snap ends. Okay, so one of the things we have to look at with this play is intent. And so I'm going to let it go through, and then we'll get started with this play, okay? Oh, too far, excuse me. Let's let this play go through here. And so I want you to watch this pass, and it's close. I'll just give you that. But let's go ahead, let this play run through. Formation looks good. QB under duress. Outside the FBZ. And it's clearly thrown into the dirt well behind. So as we go through this again, and I can't slow play this obviously because we're on the Federation Network, so please forgive. Please forgive on this, but too far, excuse me. Thanks for your patience. This is never easy with the Federation Network. So watch the running back in this situation. And this is the key point here. It's clear he's out of the free blocking zone. QB is. It's clear the ball does not get to the line of scrimmage. But look at what 11 does here. He goes from looking for the ball to turning upfield. That is the philosophical question here that we have to address, okay? And so once more, as we look at this, he goes from blocking, looking for the screen. He sees QB, and he rolls upfield. So the question before the house is he still in the area? Some people would say yes, and I can see why they'd say that. And some people would say, no, he turned upfield. He's no longer in the area, and his intent to be a receiver is gone. He's thinking QB's going to tuck it and going to run. Oop. Wrong button. So let's try and pause it here when the QB actually throws the ball here. We are turned upfield and not looking for the rock. The ball's been thrown, but from where the QB is to where the RB is, we're at least 10 yards away. The ball falls incomplete. Tough. But here's the thing. We've seen RB's intent. He's not intending to catch the ball, but QB's intent here is very clear. He's been under duress. There's more pressure coming. His intent, by definition, is to conserve time and or yardage by throwing the ball away. I mean, you look at where he's at. He's inside the 5 or on the 5. The goal line's in question. His intent is to get rid of the rock before they take it away from him. And so I'll let it loop through one more time. And so as he throws this away, we don't have all the conditions met, and this crew through for intentional grounding on this play. I support this flag. The referee is getting help. He gets to a rough spot of where it's thrown. Hopefully he comes back. But let's just let this go. Good to get rid of the ball. Information. Flag goes up. Let's make sure we get a spot for this flag because it's a spot foul. That spot matters. But sought information and decided on IG because the receiver was not in the area, perhaps. But also for me, the reason why this is intentional grounding more so is that the QB's intent was to conserve time or yardage, okay? And in doing so, not all of the conditions were met for him to do so legally. He has to get that ball back to the previous line of scrimmage or the expanded version of that. Question about whether 11's in the area is fair, but all in all, I would say I support this flag for IG because of the QB's intent. So the good news with this set of plays, referees, is that there's some conversation points. And as we wrap up today, I would just invite you to go to your associations, go to your peers in officiating, and see whether you agree or whether you think I'm up in the night. There's a good chance it's both. But all this to say, I would just encourage you to discuss, find where your thresholds are, and let's all get better by utilizing this film to do so. So thanks again to these crews for taking the time to submit film and for all of us to get better because of it. Thanks for your time as well. This is Tyler Spear, State Coordinator of Football Officials, signing off and wishing you a great week.